Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Atlantic Media Chairman, David Bradley.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I have the most modest assignment. I am here to welcome you, and I do welcome you. We're so glad that you're here. This is the third time that the Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Aspen Institute and my organization, The Atlantic, have worked together to produce CityLab. And when you work three times together with Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Aspen Institute, you come to know Mike Bloomberg and Walter Isaacson. The latter you will know as the best-selling biographer today in the English language, with John Adams, Ben Franklin, famously right now Steve Jobs' biographies out. He's also the CEO of the Aspen Institute, which is a Washington-headquartered think tank with global reach. And then you know Mike Bloomberg. You know the two large chapters of his life, his work life with Bloomberg and his successful mayoralty years in New York City. And you see a little bit of the manifestation of his philanthropy, of his generosity here at CityLab. I wanted to tell you a story of New York City before Mike Bloomberg. There's humor in the story, but I don't know the humor will convey, so this just has the benefit of being true. Do you remember that awkward summer for President Bill Clinton, 1998, when all sorts of trouble was brewing before the House Impeachment Committee? Well, during that summer, he secured the defense services of one of the top litigators in the United States, a man named Bob Bennett from New York. And Bob Bennett tells the story on himself. He was asked to come down and have dinner, he and his wife, with the president and Mrs. Clinton. And he was surprised to read that it was just the four of them, and it was going to be in the private quarters of the White House. So he drove down, and as instructed, he went to the South Gate. That's the side of the White House where the helicopter lands. And the guard said, "We're expecting you," and opened the gate and said, "Drive up the driveway. Just drive up the driveway to the house the way you would any driveway." So he drove up to the top, and there was a Marine guard at the top. And the Marine guard told him to park the car anywhere he wanted. So he got out of the car, and his wife got out of the car. And they were walking in, and the guard said to him, "Excuse me, Mr. Bennett, is there any chance you're from New York?" And he said, "Yes, I am. How did you know that?" And he said, "Well, here at the White House, sir, it's only people from New York who lock their car doors." So widely in America, Michael Bloomberg is known as being the most successful American mayor of his generation. So let me introduce him to you, Mike Bloomberg.
Well, David, thank you. I'm just trying to think, do I lock the doors for my car? But the truth of the matter is I haven't driven a car since Thanksgiving of 2001. And a friend of mine has a Ferrari, and I keep looking, and there's no back seat. And I said, why on earth would you ever want to get in that car? We have had a great partnership between CityLab and to create CityLab with the Aspen Institute and the Atlantic, and it's been great for all three organizations. It's fun to work together. You share ideas, and you see how other people approach the same kind of problems you're trying to solve, but they do it differently. And if you're really open, you can always improve what you're doing. And I've always thought that what Bloomberg Philanthropies should be looking for are things where we can make a difference, but also things where we can learn. So we take the solutions to one problem and try to apply them elsewhere to solve other problems. And we work on public health and education and the environment and things like that. We thought that this was a perfect place for us to have CityLab in London. This is not very far away from Paris, where COP21 is going to be in another month and a half, where we're all trying to get countries from around the world to work on climate change. One of the things that if we don't do something about, you literally could end the world as we know it. Being here and having the mayors from all over the world come has really let us share ideas and develop what we're going to do in the future. It was also a great chance for us to get together with my favorite mayor, Boris Johnson. I'll tell you a Boris story. I've always thought he was just so full of it. He just doesn't know what he's talking about. He really doesn't. So I take him to a baseball game in New York City, and I take him out in the field to meet CC Sebastian, who had just thrown a no-hitter. And I turned to say hello to somebody else, and I turned back, and there is Boris and CC showing how they hold the ball, him a cricket ball, CC a baseball, and how they were curving it this way and that sort of thing. And then I said, maybe Boris does know what he's talking about. There was rumors that I was going to run for mayor of the city of London after Boris retires, but I just think I don't have the hair for it. And anyways, say again? Not true. If I grew my hair in, I'd look at the top. There's an aberration in most camera lenses that if you photograph me from the back, it looks like I have a bald spot, but that can't possibly be. Anyways, I do think seriously that Boris is one of the great mayors. He's taken a job that I guess Ken Livingston started, and he's really in a city where they didn't before have a lot of power at the local level. He's created something, and he's made life better for the people that live in London. And now I have a house in London, so I'm a taxpayer in London, so he works for me. And I want to know why. What were you doing this morning? Were you working or just...
My bicycle, I left my bicycle. I've been in Tokyo. My bicycle was in City Hall.
He did show up. It's a true story. He showed up at my apartment here in London on his bicycle. So he doesn't just talk about it. He really does. He got outside. He messed up his hair for the cameras and then came in. And there he is. Anyways, we learn a lot from London and from Boris, and hopefully he learned something from us. But I will say I think he's one of the great leaders. I first met him in Liverpool or Blackpool. It was a party conference or something. Blackpool? It was one of those pools, anyways. And we've been friends ever since. So it's great to be here and great to share a stage with him. And thank you for having us in your city. We're trying to do something for your economy. Everybody spend a lot of money. Boris needs it. Goodbye. Thank you.